me do this. Pin. We should be there. Hi there. I think we're live.
Yes, we are. I see us.
Okay, good. Let me close this. All right. Hello, everyone. We're just figuring all this out. I have to open up a bunch of channels, do a bunch of stuff before I can figure this out, but it's all good. You think I'd be a pro at this by now because I've done it a few times, but no, that's not the truth. Hello, everyone. Let's see who's here so far. Hi from Massachusetts. Hi, Julie. Hi, Alice, Patty, Diana, Shucko. Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see everyone. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. Hi, Patty. Hi, Monica. Wow, Portugal, nice. We got all kinds of places here. Amsterdam. Yay. All right, well, today I want to talk about intimacy. This is a big topic. It's come to me because I'm noticing things in terms of what that represents. And we're really going to talk about intimacy and authenticity and kind of how they work together. But before I step into that, I want to just sort of set the stage here with everyone. So let's just bring the energy in and really just kind of open this up, you know, for our communication. And I really encourage people to bring forward questions, and of course comments are always welcome, these types of things as well. So let's just open the energy here for a minute. So everybody that's with us, just close your eyes, take some deep breaths. I'm just going to expand this field. Locos, Agatacash. Want everybody to take nice deep breaths. And we're just going to open and expand the heart space to allow to just receive, whatever is in the highest and best for you. Ask to come forward with grace and ease, and that you receive what is for you in however way, and we'll ask for this receiving in any capacity for you, and of this now time and any other now time to come in. Beautiful. Love it. Nice. That energy it's very light, very welcoming energy today. How about you? Do you feel that, Rayania?
Yeah, I was just thinking that is it because the new year, the energy feel much lighter, and there's a sense of hope, and something better is gonna show up, that excitement as well.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. I feel like that the transition, you know, I mean, obviously it's just a day of transition, but this has been building up for the last several weeks, longer than that, but I've definitely felt it the last several weeks of like just so much source codes coming through. And I do know that we do have access to the galactic core now. And so that really gives us a great ability to have the full embodiment of our oversoul and really, you know, the geometries of who we are, really who we are. And what that means is in your day-to-day, you truly have the opportunity to be the instant manifester of your life, of the creations, you know. So it's very exciting. Yeah, lots of energetics that are here. I think that's why this topic came forward to me. And for those of you, you know, who don't know, I don't have any agenda for this, for what I'm doing. I've been guided to just show up here once a week. We didn't do last week because the energy was just so much that we decided to take a break. But that, you know, I've been guided to come here really to create community, but just to show up, and showing up, I show up as my energetic field, and my particular energetic field carries a tremendous amount of geometries, and geometries that align you with your reason for being here. And it just happens just by being in the energetic field, in the presence of this energy. So that's a big part of it. It's also aligning with the internet itself, which is also an energetic field. And all of you, you're also doing that. And so you bringing your energetics and showing up, this is really very profound for the collective. And so this is kind of the idea. And each week I get kind of a download of a theme, so to speak, of, at least for this part of the series. I don't know, we may shift gears and things, go into a different direction at some time, but that's how this has been. And so I do encourage anybody who's been listening to revisit some of the other videos that are here and share them. And please, if you like them, share them, because it is helpful, to get the energy out and get it moving. So and it's always appreciated. So today, I got the topic of intimacy, and intimacy, into me see. I'm sure we've heard that before, and where it's showing me, and I'm going with this, is from our energetic field. When we know ourselves as energy and frequency, and we think about intimacy as being intimate with somebody, being close to them or something, it's like, okay, but am I really, what am I doing, and who am I, and who's the one who's showing up, and sort of like, what is in my field, what's happening? So one of the things that came forward, and I shared this in a group that I was in, and is, and I'm sure most people have felt this, that you ever been with somebody and or in a group, and particularly when you get ready to leave, often, like you can have conversations with people, and you're in a certain conversation, and then as you're getting ready to leave, something happens, and there's this little nervousness or this energy that kind of takes place, and you feel like maybe you can't quite look at the person, and you're sort of looking around, and you don't know what exactly took place. And I think that what is going on there is that there's a moment where there is another level or a different energy that's now communicating or speaking to that other individual at the time when you're getting ready to leave. And it can be a judgment, where somehow we've created a judgment about the person in a way, or it can be some attraction or something like that, or some jealousy. And it doesn't have to be, it can be negative or positive. It doesn't have to be anything. And these are the things about intimacy that came forward we want to wake up to. It's like, okay, if I truly want to be authentic, right? Because this is what the whole theme is about, showing up, being absolutely authentic, transparent, showing up. Okay, so I have that desire when I go to meet someone, or I go to a place to visit, or whatever, a community of whatever. But it's like, but first of all, am I truly 100% showing up? So, I got my feet on the floor, I'm looking at my eyes, am I in my heart space? That's that present moment. So we can practice that. We can be in that heart space. But then also, like, what, who is all of me? What all am I bringing to the table, that's coming forward? And some of the things, and I guess the strongest one that I notice that shows up with a lot of people is this very strong sexual energy that we tend to carry, and we don't even recognize that we're carrying it, and we're carrying it because the sexual energy is the creative energy that we are as creative beings, and that it's been massively distorted on the planet in many, many different ways. And so, the way in which we notice how we look, or how we're speaking, or any of our mannerisms and all that, can be defined as a sexual energy that's playing out in the field. And depending on where you're allowing that to go depends on how it is affecting or connecting to the other individual. And so, being aware of your intent when you are in connection and communicating with others as you are being authentically present is the next step of intimacy, because your intent is what is going to, in essence, we'll call it, create a boundary, although I'm not talking boundary in a limited perspective, but it's when you're going to have your energy with you contained. Because what's happening is you've got fragments of your energy that's hanging out in your field of all these different, lifetimes or different aspects or whatever, and they are communicating with the individual based on however you're sizing them up, that you might not be realizing, or whatever's happening. And so when you're talking about, like I'm mentioning in the sexual energy, if we don't have, just say, a clear awareness of my own, my own discernment of how that operates for me, what is my operating system of my sense of sex and sexuality, my own sense of being. In other words, knowing that this individual is, I'll try to be simple with this. This is a friend. This is a friend of this type. This is somebody I'm just meeting that is a friend, or in this level. But and I'm not trying to get it necessarily defined in that way, but it is like that. It's like having that awareness that I am truly, how am I going to show up? Am I showing up as truly this light being, and I'm just being very present, and I'm bringing my energy in, so that I'm not holding it, and I'm not coming from my solar plexus, because this is the other thing. If I'm coming from my solar plexus, I'm coming from a sense of identification. So I'm identifying myself in some way, versus coming from my heart space. If I'm in my heart space and I'm truly in the present moment, then I am, I'm in the full experience of this individual. And this is authenticity and intimacy. But then we have to notice that as they're communicating to me, what's happening to me? Are there certain feelings? Am I having certain thoughts? Are there certain, and that's when you want to, it's not like get in your head, but we're just observing. We're becoming the witnessing observers of ourselves to really recognize next levels of what's playing out in my field. Who am I? What is this real level? This is how we are unwinding all of this manipulation, control, all the ways in which we've created, relationships and had intimacy in the past. And so it's really about being, noticing, what is, where is there a fleeting thought of something that's come in with this person? Is there anything, because everything's energy and frequency. And so when I am, when we're around anyone, there's a tremendous amount of communication. That's why I said revisit these other videos, because we talked about, the unspoken is speaking so much louder than the spoken in ways. We talked about relationships and about creating relationships. And so now we're talking about the intimacy aspect, and this is what's really coming forward that I think is important to awaken, to take next levels about what this is, and the way I was seeing it, because I'm even watching this energetically, it's like, through our physical body, and particularly I'm noticing in the connective tissue system of the body, certainly in the fluid system of the body, we're carrying all of these, a lot of programming, and particularly with the sexual energy, it's playing out in so many different ways, and it's playing out in control and judgment and all different types of things. So in our mannerisms, in the way in which we have nuances in communication, we're sort of spitting out these different energies and frequencies without recognizing, right, that we're doing it. And so, it's becoming more aware of what am I, really presenting? What is the package that's called me when I'm showing up? Am I truly showing up in full presence. And it's a practice. So it's not something that, I think you have and get. It's to notice. And that's what's come forward in today, that I'm bringing in this energy, is just waking this up and starting to have just a deeper level, so that we can go to true authenticity, authentic intimacy with others and with creation itself, which is a beautiful love frequency, and authentic love is a part of this too. So I kind of want to see if there's any questions or what you have to say in relationship to this, Rayania, to kind of get a little bit of dialogue, because I feel like there's a lot that's coming forward with this, but I feel like I want to kind of open it up. I don't know if there's, I don't see any questions, but I'm giving people an opportunity.
Yeah, we haven't seen any question for now, and just wanted to let Destiny that we did a short, Cathleena did a short grounding in the beginning. This is such a big topic, as I actually just spoke with some people, and I feel like, especially with the opposite sex, that so the case that I spoke with is that sometimes certain people ignite certain energy within us, right? Like whether it's the attraction, or it's that sexual desire, or it's that inadequacy. So maybe I wanted to ask about this sense of inadequacy. So how do we be when we interact with people and suddenly we feel less than? Like maybe there's this program of judging and comparison that comes up.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely been, a theme, certainly for all of humanity. And it's definitely been something that I've experienced in my own reality. And I think, making a decision to close that door, basically within yourself, that I'm going to close this door of this judgment and self-judgment, and having that as the awareness of that present moment, that's that intimacy with self, and that, that authenticity with self. It's like noticing, okay, something is having me feel this in this energy. And most likely, if you're feeling it, then that individual is also carrying something in relationship to that. They're either feeling the same inadequacy, or most likely that's exactly the energetic, but they may be showing up as, better or something, different, and that's all part of the game, right? The whole comparison, the whole judgment, the whole, that's what I'm saying, is noticing those things that are playing out in my field, and that because everything's about matching, right? So somehow I'm matching this within that individual, and it's not easy, and it is easy at the same time to show up authentically. The not easy part is when we feel it, within our body, and it's getting triggered, and we're struggling with it. But so I'm going to give you an example, like that I've experienced, that if I'm with somebody and I unknowingly am leaving maybe a door open for a possibility of a physical relationship with this individual, even though everything in me says I'm not interested in that. There's like a dialogue, but some subliminal aspect of myself has been leaving that door open. And why do we leave that door open? We leave that door open because we align that level of intimacy, whether it's, a sexual intimacy or whatever, we align it with self-worth, with, love, with connectedness, with so many different things that are deep inside ourselves. And so, being able to close that door is what I'm saying. Being able to have like a knowing, like, no, know yourself, get to know yourself, instead of hanging out there and playing these games. It's like be authentic, be truly authentic with yourself in the dialogue. Because if it is something that you desire to connect deeper with the person, then communicate that deeper. Then don't, it's like what we're talking about is releasing it from the subliminal, from the hanging out. And this is what humanity does. is we don't want to necessarily make decisions. We don't want to, you know, when you meet somebody, sometimes you want to just kind of hang out in the energy and let all these things play out. And that's what I'm saying, is that what that's doing is that's allowing for the soul fragments to be out there. That's been the game on the planet. And so what we're doing now is, no, we're bringing them in and we're coming into authenticity. So we're not doing that, because what that is that's part of the enslavement, imprisonment, and all those energies, because it's playing out a control and a, you know, a game, and we don't realize that we're playing that game. You know, and the only way to stop doing that is right here. It's like, okay, what's happening to me? You know, what is this dialogue? Let me get present. Again, it's that practice, feet on the floor, looking at my eyes, being very present and knowing, getting to know, like, hold on, what am I really doing here? What's really happening here? What's happening? And this is very large. This is a huge thing that we're bringing up here that's in the field, but it's really important because there's just a lot of stuff being played out here.
Yeah, I think we got some questions.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing some
a lot of questions came through.
Yeah.
I think from what you said, this could be an interesting question. I'm often told I'm flirting when I'm just think I am being friendly. Can you address that?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying, is because we don't realize that we're carrying this sexual energy. And so that's how it's being felt, you know, because so the inauthentic sexual energy is that, you know, luring energy that we're playing out, humanity's playing out, and that's the false feminine energy, you know, that's being played out, which is the seductress, and that's why there's so much focus on the looks and you know, and if we're carrying that energetics, then yes, then that's going to come across, because that's also how the male has been programmed to react to the female, that's what they think the female. And so we're waking this up now. We're waking up the authentic masculine, authentic feminine frequencies, which are not that. They are the coming from the heart space, the openness. And you know, it's kind of like you know, I don't want to go into the full identification, but I can say that, you know, the authentic feminine is really that soft, open, love frequency, but it's not like airy fairy. It's a heart space. It's just a genuine heart space that we feel. And I would say that the authentic masculine is a very similar. It just has a little structure to it, you know, and there's a lot of ways in which that can show up, but that's not what this is about. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but I feel like that's what we're recognizing. So in that case, if you're, you know, coming across in that way, that's where you want to look at your own field, and you want to ask yourself, and I don't know who asked that question.
Male 111.
Male. Okay. So, Mel, I think Mel. So Mel, if you're having that happen, what you want to do is you want to authentically ask yourself, am I seeking any type of attention? You know, am I, and not even necessarily in that now moment, but do I seek that in my being? Am I needing that? And that's a worthiness program on the other side of the coin, right? It's like, I'm not feeling enough self-worth, so I'm seeking the attention. And, you know, because authentic beauty and all that is just right there. It's a given. It's not a, it's in, you know, whatever. This is the game that's been played out. It's a push and a pull and a seek and a, okay. So it really is just going deeper within ourselves and saying, what am I carrying? You know, what am I carrying in my energy? What am I doing?
Yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about this. It just also as an observation, because I encountered the same situation when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And very often I felt very innocent. Like, you know, I did not have any intention of flirting, but people will take the wrong way. And lately, I just realized it has to do with a certain perception and sexual construct that I took on unconsciously.
Yes.
You know, from family, from cultural, and I without conscious intention to seek attention, or maybe I was. But it's really quite an invitation to dive deep, to connect with, well, I would say connect with my sexuality, but I find it challenging still, like the ongoing process to really to be honest of what kind of perception and belief I have as a woman sexually.
Yeah.
What's expectation of myself? What expectation have I taken on of myself?
Yeah. I love that. And that's beautiful. And that's exactly it. Because this whole distortion of the sexual energy on the planet is exactly that. It's like what, as a woman, it's like, in order to attract a man, it's like, what is the, am I attracting and do I have to? It's like this whole game that's being played. And it's much deeper with all of the stuff that's going on the planet. I'm not going to get into that whole dialogue of just all of the distortions, but this is why this topic has come up about intimacy, is that, these are the things that are playing out in the field, and we're calling it the sexual energy, which can come out as the seductress and all that, but it's really connected to worthiness, to judgment, to, any shame, blame, any frequencies, anger, frustration. It's all connected in this whole persona. And it's tied to this idea of, how do I get and receive love? What is that? So this is all the inauthentic masculine, feminine energies that are showing up. And this is the way that I'm being guided from source and, my guidance to open this door and to begin to move this energy. And that's what we are doing here through this dialogue, through this communication, through this video, is actually beginning to move all of that, here.
That. So we have a question from Nicole. As I get older, I find it frustrating that I'm still judged on a sexual standard that I don't want to meet anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so if you're feeling the judgment, again, we have to own that, right? In the way of what am I carrying? So this is where we have to look at ourselves. So I had to look at this, like I carried, because of my energetics, because of my history, because of all the different things that I've experienced, I carried a strong sexual energy, but I carried a lot of this stronger, what I would say is the false matrix sexual energy, of the seductress energy. So I needed to kind of look at my own energetic field and feel what that felt like, because what it was doing is, it would draw people in. And then my own energetics in general, and all of our energetics, when your light is very bright, you will draw people. But it's how the ego game is played. It's played through the ego, through this, what we think is, through the sexual energy, the ego gets fed. And this is where we have to kind of look at, am I playing a power game through my mind? Am I in that space? Because that's how it's playing out, through that, like, I mean, just bluntly, like what women do, like I could take that guy, I could have that, I could do, and or men will do with women, or whatever, or anybody would do with people. It's kind of that energetics, when you have a certain image of what you've created, and then there's an energy associated with that. That's what the power, that's the false power, which is power over or being powered by somebody, and that's the game. That's like, that is the game, that's being played. And so I would say that if you're still experiencing any judgment, I would go deeper in, like, what am I carrying then? Am I still carrying something of separation, of better than or less than somebody else? Because that's where those judgments are going to come in, if I'm experiencing that. So that's what I would look at from my own energetic field, of why, because everything in your field we are bringing in, whether we want to recognize it or not. It's always a matching of frequencies.
Yeah. So Deanna is asking, sometimes I experience people feeling uncomfortable when we show up as neutral. Are they then feeling their own energy?
Well, yes. Okay, so I can feel you, Diana. So if you're showing up in the authentic 0 point, what happens is whatever the truth of that individual comes right to the surface. I mean, that's just how it works, because the 0 point is the no thing and all possibilities. It is who we are as source consciousness. So no other frequency can sustain itself in that frequency except source. So their authentic truth, wherever they are, is going to come to the surface. And they may not want that part of themselves to come to the surface. And but if you're feeling it, then you're matching that uncomfortable. Then I would say the minute that you begin feeling it, well, let's just say if you're aware of it, that's different than if I'm embodying it and feeling it. So that's the thing. If I'm feeling it in the way of embodiment, then I'm owning it, whatever that is. Then it's a part of me, and I'm drawing that, I'm matching that, and that's me working through it. But if you're just aware of it, then you can stay in that neutrality, and that individual will either move through it or they'll move away from you, because that's what happens. That's just the nature of how energy works, when we're showing up authentic.
Yeah. Well, Avil asked a question. If you have donated blood plasma a lot, do you recommend to cut cords or something?
I have never really thought about that, actually. I have to feel into that energy of donating. Well, I feel like in your case, it just feels like that because of your true heart space in your donating, your energy is just expanded with it. So it's more about you're expanding, although I can feel that as I'm talking about it with you, because you have that question around it, there's something that's in your when I'm looking at the blood and the plasma aspect, you're kind of containing, you're holding it. So it's like you're not wanting energy to move with it. So what in essence you're unintentionally doing is shutting down your own energetics. So I would encourage you just to breathe and let that go, which good, and you're doing, and just know that if you're coming from, it's about your intent, right? So if your intent was to give from your heart space and so on, then it's your energetics that's being spoken there. So you don't have to have any concern about that at all, which I definitely feel even more so now is expanding. So I would be allowing that, to be your participation. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
So Stuart has a question. Notice some control aspect in relation to the root chakra and shame aspect and judging myself.
Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely connecting to the root and this, and shame, of course, and that's also, that's the connection to Mother Earth. To me, what I'm feeling there is that true freedom. It's like, do we allow ourselves to really be authentically free and to be able to show up, just as who we are. I mean, that's what I'm feeling absolutely there. And of course, the sacral chakra and the root, with the sexual organs and the whole energetics. It's also like we have, as the collective has really lifted out of the core of the earth in a big way. And so, which is why so much can happen to the earth, you know, a lot of ways in which humanity is not recognizing that we are one with the earth, and how the treatment animals and so on. And so I think that that's where a lot of that shame and those judgments and all that has come in. It's like deep inside ourselves, when we know the truth, the game that's being played out is to have shame and have judgment of like my participation. And so, am I worthy? Can I truly be allow myself to be connected to the earth, because perhaps I've been somebody who hasn't, you know, treated her well, or hasn't done, you know. So that's the game, you know, that's being played out. So the more that we can let go and allow ourselves to really be present, and, you know, bring in those soul fragments, and realize that these are just experiences, you know, we've just had experiences, you know, there's really no right or wrong in that way. These are just experiences that we've had. Then we can have that divine forgiveness, you know, of self and others, which forgive me, forgive you, love me, love you, compassion for me, compassion for you, gratitude for me, gratitude for you, to be able to, you know, release those energetics. And when we do that, then our you know, our soul signature, our energetics move with and connect into the core of the earth, which I'm seeing, of course, with you, Stuart, as it's continuing to open up, as we just allow for ourselves to let go of all those belief systems. That's why this whole idea of intimacy has come forward. It's like, how much are we still holding that's keeping ourselves from that true intimacy with Mother Earth, with all there is, you know, that true connectedness and that oneness of who we are. This is what feels very profound. It's wanting to come forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of energy here, you know, that I feel. It's interesting, and I can feel, you know, with people kind of going into their heads a little bit, and in a little bit of the confusion. It's kind of like, you know, but all that is all that's happening because there's so much being brought up in the field right now. You know, when I'm feeling the energetics of who's here and who's going to participate in this, it's big. You know, there's a lot of energy that's in this field. There's just a lot around this whole subject. And what I'm going to encourage people, because I'm feeling a lot of going in the head, so I'm going to encourage to let go of that and really just drop in the heart space. Because what this is an opportunity in this particular space right now to just feel. So just, you know, instead of going into the judgment and dialoguing from the head, drop into the heart space, expand that heart space, and just feel. Just allow yourself to just open and really just feel everything that's coming forward. This is the key to this. There's no judgment in anything that we're bringing here. It's simply to wake up, because what I feel is happening for a lot of people is they're revisiting, you know, different times and different things and different, you know, opportunities have connected to people and so on and so on. And then there's this judgment factor. There's all kinds of energies going on. And what's desired is simply to be the witnessing observer of this that's coming forward right now, which is just starting to be curious, like, okay, this is an interesting thing. Let me just, you know, feel who I really am. Am I showing up authentically present in order to allow for true intimacy to occur? You know, am I truly that? Remember, into me see. So think about it from that perspective. Am I allowing others to see into me and me to see into them? Is this what are we doing? Because, you know, what otherwise we're playing the game, because that is really what authentic connection is anyway. You know, it is the law of one. And so that's really what we're working with. Is kind of like, oh, can I let somebody see? Well, here's the real truth. You can't not let them see, because that's the game. The game on the planet is that there's some type of, you know, privacy or something that really doesn't exist. You know, we're one. So all things are really available, you know, and we're feeling them, and all of us are in all different ways. So it's just waking us up to like, what's really happening here? You know, what are we really doing? That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I also wanted to share that I almost feel that there's a sense of discomfort because
Mhm.
this is such a deep um topic, the sexuality, the intimacy, and our own connection with our own self.
Yeah. But how perfect. I mean, isn't that interesting too, though, right? In the privacy of our own body, our own self, we're uncomfortable. Ugh, but that's what absolutely I'm feeling it because I'm moving it, because I'm helping right now and I can feel it. And guess where it is? Solar plexus, because that's how we've identified ourselves. And it's triggering a lot of things right now that I can feel, particularly in women, but I think we're mainly women that are here, although there are some men here, which is great too. But I can definitely feel those energetics that are taking place, and of course, because that's what the nature of this is right now, which is, and I am going to, for those that don't know, I'm going to do a clearing with this at the end before we stop, because I think that this is such a massive piece that's coming forward. So I will do that for all those that are here and that will listen to this in the future.
Yeah. Cheryl has a question. Are we supposed to just allow energy from others to flow, or can we send their energy back to them? Let's just say over the span of the day, we have been around people and their energy not a good feeling.
Well, I feel like that if you're able to be in neutrality yourself, then you can have the experience of what the energetics that are around, but you won't take it on. There won't be anything that is connected to you. The only way that it's connected to you is when you own pieces of that, and then that's an opportunity for you to release that within your own self. So instead of feeling it like, oh, I'm around these people and it feels terrible, maybe you take the dialogue differently and say, well, isn't this interesting that I'm feeling this uncomfortable energy? If I'm feeling it, where is it in me? What's happening within me? Because that is how then you show up as source consciousness, and you allow for that opportunity for that energy to leave from that person on its own. And because we've been in this whole like, I'm going to do this and you're going to do that, and I need to push, I need to pull, but we're all source consciousness. So, and I'm not to say that we don't have discernment about what we choose to be around and so on. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in this particular case, I'm feeling that the opportunity to be in that neutrality and notice, and having it as a gift to yourself of like, if I'm feeling this, then I'm feeling it. So where is it happening for me? And I've had this, like, when I'm doing this sort of work, or I'm here, it's very easy for me. But sometimes when I'm in my day to day, I can have energy that comes around and it can suddenly overtake me in a way. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? So I work with it. I work with whatever's going on with inside of me to be able to shift it, and move it, have the opportunity of going deeper about what is that representing, because it's all about a representation. It's all about an identification, how I've identified myself.
Yeah. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, and there's a question, well, there's an observation that Patty just made. And Nicole, I feel it's interesting that she said, I feel like there's no plan book, referring to no role model to be a cool woman who is not sexual.
Yeah, well, I agree. So we need to establish that. What is that? Exactly. And again, why is it like an identification? Because aren't we all cool women that are sexual, period? Because we just are. And if you allow that, it's like exactly, what are we doing? What does this mean? Because your own sense of sex and sexuality is your own connectedness to that. But it's how you're feeling. It's about you. It's your own sense of identification. When you are that, regardless, then you have that identification, and I think that's the key to this. It's like, know thyself, right? Know who you are, in your own sense of being.
That is the theme of this whole series, right? Like,
It
know
is.
thyself.
Know thyself. 100%. Yeah.
It's so profound because we thought we should know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a question from Christina. She said, in my case, I have attracted a partner that has low sexual energy, and I'm the opposite. And in the past, I have talked frustrated, and now I'm using my sexual energy in other ways. Any advice on this? Oh, in the past, I've got
In the
frustrated.
past.
Now
Yeah.
I use it.
Well, I think it's very interesting. It's kind of like, whoa, so what is really that? I feel like, Christina, I would really evaluate that for myself. Like, what is it really? Because, is this genuinely connectedness in terms of sex and sexuality, or is this about power, or is it about, my sense of how I show up, and like what, what did I really use, and what am I continuing to use to attract a person, to attract a partner? What is this, go deeper, because in feeling things like that, sometimes we can pick somebody, or let's just say the attraction can be only the sexual energy, which in this case, if we're talking about the distorted sexual energy, the false feminine sexual energy, is really a power. So you can have a partner that feels that power and is drawn to you because of that power, but then once they have that, then the real truth is like they're drawn to it because they don't have the power. So you're probably always going to end up with a structure like that, because it has nothing to do with the literal act of intimacy, of connectedness. It has to do with an energetic that's being played out. And this again goes much deeper, and I think at some point I can feel like some courses coming forward for some of these types of things to look at, but I say this is all part of what we're talking about what is authentic intimacy. Like, when I meet a person, what am I doing? Am I truly in my heart, in my space? Because that is where the sexual energy and the connectedness is the authentic. Or am I somewhere else in my body, my head, in my sacral chakra? Where am I? What am I doing? What is the energetics? And what is my motivation for that? How am I truly, am I doing it as a power? Am I doing, this is the level of authenticity that we're going to notice, like, what am I really doing? And I'd say in that case, if you drew somebody that, isn't necessarily has a lot of sexual energy, but maybe they have their heart much more open, or heart space open, then perhaps look at, maybe that's the deeper part of what we were really desiring to connect to. And once, we can open up our own hearts, then that whole other piece may change. Then we may have true intimacy. And then, and your partner may surprise you and have a whole different level of connectedness, because it's truly about intimacy and connectedness, and not in the power energy in the way that it was shown up. So I think this is, again, what we're waking up to. It's like, what are we really doing? And we're kind of focusing on actual partnerships and sexual energy from that perspective, but I want to emphasize that sexual energy is the creative energy. So it's really how we the level of intimacy itself is connected to who am I, and so we show up with power, we show up with judgment, we show up with belittling, we show, I mean, control. We show up with all these things in our energetic field when we're thinking that we're authentic and being intimate and connecting with somebody. So all of those things are playing out, or many aspects of them, or different things are playing out.
Yeah, I feel like there could be, another whole lot hours to talk about sex and sexuality and this creative energy.
100%, absolutely.
Or connection with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take the last few minutes here. We're going to go into the energy, and I just want to give opportunity to really open this space for all those that are with us here. And I'm going to step into this energy deeper, and I'm going to do some clearing of some very deep programming around, particularly around this sexual energy aspect that we're talking about, and some of the, feels like the false feminine frequencies that are coming forward. So everybody just close your eyes, take some deep breaths. I'm just going to really open up this field. Just want you to take some deep breaths. A nice deep breath. I'm just opening up the channel. Really, it's a larger channel, so it's like a collective energetic channel for Sophia Gaia and Source through your entire central channel, through your chakra systems. So I'm just allowing this to open up a bit more. Take some deep breaths. Deeper breaths, and I'm going to expand this field. And I want you to imagine a big ball of light that you are surrounded by. And this ball of light is pure love, and it's light. It actually feels very like a abundance or sort of frequency. It's golden. I want you to imagine this is completely around you. I want you to imagine that you are in this light. You're able to release everything that you choose in this now moment about self-dialogue, particularly any of the shame, judgments, anything that is been playing out during this time together. And I want you to really imagine that it's really coming out of your head and through all timelines and all dimensional fields, past, present, and future, all timelines. Just gonna keep allowing that. And I can feel that the consciousness of water is helping with this. So we're flowing with this beautiful 18th dimensional consciousness of water. We're going to allow this, and this includes the water in the eyes, so it may create tears or the flowing. I'm just going to allow that. Beautiful light. I'm just going to continue, and we're going to flow this out the sacral and root into Sophia Gaia, into this giant pool, as we're going to drop this this bubble of light into the crystalline core. And as we drop it into the crystalline core, it's going to pop and open into this crystalline core. So we're just dissipating in this beautiful crystalline core, this beautiful earth, all that we're releasing, letting go, alchemizing. This I'm opening up also to Pure Prime Creator. We're going to allow for some codes to be dropped into your energetic field of who you really are. Just bringing in just a greater awareness of who you really are from Prime Creator to your crown, into your body. All of this with grace and ease. Beautiful. Great. Okay. Just going to move that through your central channel. And these codes are aligning the very deep level of your nervous system. And they're beginning to connect and communicate on the quantum level of the DNA, particularly in the entire nervous system, on the spine, the peripheral nervous system, the brainstem brain as well. Just creating this much more light. There you go. It's good. Deep breath. Great. Okay. Ooh. All right. Hope everybody feels light and expanded and amazing. You are amazing beings of light. And I thank you all for being here and for showing up.
Yeah, thank you, Cathleena. It's beautiful. It's I feel like like you said, it's helping many of us start to unravel, become aware of what wants to be released or be witnessed, so that it can be transformed.
And just know that you can revisit any of these videos. They're much more than just me sitting here and Rayania sitting here chatting. You know, there's a lot of energetics to all of them, not just even the activation portions, but the energetics themselves. This is a huge field. There is the One Source Collective that's present, that's actually holding the space, as well as, you know, the energetics of the field that I'm presenting. So, you know, please share it, revisit it, and have opportunity. You know, each time you'll step in, the field is going to expand your energetics more and more. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, I think that we will say goodnight, and thank you all for being here. And remember, of course, like, share, and subscribe. And also, we do have donations if you feel inclined. So thank you for that as well. All right, and I will see you guys next week.
Take care, everyone. Have a good week, and see you next week.
See you next week.